Om
Sada
Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam
Madhyamam Asmadacharya
Asmadacharya-paryantam
Paryantam
Vande Guru
Vande Guru
Paramparam.
Paramparam
Om
Om
Sahana
Sahanavatu
Sahanau
Bhunaktu
Bhunaktu Sahavi
Priyam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Mavidvishavahai
Om
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti
Shanti
Hari
Hari
Om
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari
Hari Om
Om Om Tat Sat Om Namah Shivaya.
Shivaya.
Last week we completed 23rd verse. Now let us move on to 24th verse. Please unmute. We will chant. Achedyoyam adahyoyam
Achidyoyam Adayoyam
Akledyososhya evacha
Akledyoshosya evacha
Nitya sarvagatastanuhu
Nitya Sarvagatasthārnur
Achaloyam sanatanaha.
Achaloyam Sanatanaha.
So Anvaya, I am means this. Achedyaha, it cannot be killed. Chedyaha, slain. Achedyaha means it cannot be killed. Adahyah, adayaha, adayaha means it cannot be burnt. Akledyaha, it cannot be drowned. Asosya evacha, it cannot be dried also. This Atma, I am Nityaha, changeless, eternal, Sarvagataha, all pervading, Tanuhu, stable, steady, Achalaha, immovable, it cannot be moved from one place to another place. Sanatanaha, eternal. So this self, Atma, cannot be killed, burnt, drowned, or dried. It is changeless, all pervading, stable, immovable, and eternal. So, Bhagavan Krishna continues to explain the Swarupam of Atma, the nature of Atma. So, the first line, if you see, it is almost the same as the previous sloka, Nainam Chindanti, Sastrani, Nainam Dahati, Pavaka. It is, in a way, it is a repetition, but it is to emphasize, okay? It is again, it is repeated in this verse also. Achedyaha means Atma cannot be cut by any weapons. Chedya means you can cut and damage, but Atma can never be cut by any weapon. Adayyaha. Adayyaha means Atma cannot be burned. It cannot be burnt. Fire cannot burn it. Akledyaha. Atma cannot be wet or drowned by water. And Atma cannot be dried up by the wind. Okay? It cannot be destroyed by all these four elements of earth, water, fire, and
Wind.
air. So it cannot be destroyed, and therefore it is Nityaha. That is the nature of Atma. It is Nityaha. So as Atma, we are all what? We are immortal. So Krishna Bhagavan says, Arjuna, you are Atma, therefore you are immortal. Immortality is something you don't go and attain that I need to get immortality. Immortality is the very nature. It is your very nature. Okay? So everyone wants to live forever. Do you agree? Is anyone willing to die tomorrow or today? No, even though we know that life is impermanent, it has an expiry date, but we all want to live forever. Death is something we are not ready to accept and welcome. Okay, we think we are going to live forever. And why this thought comes to our mind? Because we are immortal. What is mortal? Only this inert body, the body, mind, and sense complex, which we wrongly think as self, that will perish one day, but the essence, Atma, is immortal. So the desire to live forever is nothing unnatural, because the very nature of Atma is immortality. That is why everyone this desire to live forever, that I should not appear from that. Okay. And we try to live through our children, through our work, something we leave behind, so that our name lives on, that we live through our future generations, children, grandchildren, etc., etc. But we should understand that physically we cannot get immortality. Okay. Physically we cannot get immortality. That is the reason we leave our property, we leave our children, we give our names to our children, etc., etc. No, we leave memories, write books, leave mementos, so many things which will remind others of our once existence, that once we existed. So we leave something, we want to leave something and live on through that. It is our innermost urge. Everybody has this urge. So mortality of other thing we are ready to accept. No, even others' death we accept. No, we become philosophical. One day everybody has to die. We give advice and all that. But when it comes to self, us, me, I am mortal. That I will perish one day. That we are unable to accept. And why we are not able to accept mortality? Because it is unnatural. We are naturally immortal. That is why the reason we are unable to accept the mortality. If mortality is natural to us, we would have been comfortable. We would have been comfortable. Okay. So anything unnatural we cannot accept. Even our body, any foreign unnatural thing enters in the eyes. What happens? Immediately eyes water and tries to throw it out. So similarly, something enters our nose, we sneeze and the foreign particle is thrown out. And if something goes into our stomach, food poisoning or something which is not acceptable, we throw it out. No, it is thrown out by the system. So anything unnatural that does not belong to the body, which don't belong to the body, they are thrown out. Okay. Similarly, this thought, this idea, this concept of mortality is not acceptable to us. And immortality is our nature. It is the nature of Atma. Okay, what is natural, we will accept, and what is unnatural, we will not accept. And what is unnatural, we will reject. That is the reason mortality is rejected by everyone. No one is ready to accept mortality. Everyone wants to live at least a day more. If somebody says, today is the last day, naturally we will wish, at least I live for one more day. That is our nature. Mortality is unnatural. And what is natural is, I am Nitya. I am always there. I am ever there. Eternally there. Okay. Once you understand that, then there is no fear of death. As Atma, I am always there. I will always be there. Nitya means not bound by time at all. What is bound by time? This body is bound by time. And Atma is, I am. Now Atma means I am. Because that stage it has come. Now it is 24th verse. So whenever I say I, what does that mean? It is not that I. It is the Atma.
Atma.
Atma. I am Sarvagataha. Not only I am eternal, I am also Sarvagataha, all pervading. I am not only not bound by time, I am also not bound by space. I am timeless and I am spaceless. I am beyond these concepts of time and space. And therefore, Tanuhu, changeless. Tanuhu means changeless. There is no change. Whatever change that takes place, modifications takes place, that happens only in the body and mind. Shadvikara, for example, asti, etc., etc., it happens only to the body, not to the Atma. Since I am not bound by time, time cannot cause any change in me. Everything in this creation is constantly changing. Everything, including the stars, moon, sun, earth, everything is undergoing change. Okay? Everything is undergoing change, but not I, the Atma. So everything is changing in time. Okay? In time, everything changes. We are born as a babies, and today we are all grown up, and one day we will become old and go away. Okay? So everything changes. This body also changes. Our skin changes, color changes, hair changes. Every 7 years, these body cells are replaced. Practically, we are getting new body every 7 years, because all the cells go away and new cells grow. Okay. So if I am Nitya, that time cannot bring out any change. And therefore I am Sthanuhu, ever the same. So one of the names of Lord Shiva is Sthanuhu. Sthanu Nataha means who remains same always. Sthanu Nataha, you must have heard, some people are named after that. Okay. And I am Achalaha. Since I am not bound by time, I am changeless. Since I am not bound by space, I am motionless. Achalaha. Achalaha means motionless, the which cannot be moved. Okay. Only a limited entity can move from one place to another. Atma cannot move from one place to another. Why? It is Sarvagata. It is present everywhere. From point A to point B, where it will go. It is there in point A also, it is there in point B also. There is no question of moving. Achalaha. Okay. Atma cannot move from one place to another because there is not a place, it is not present. So, the Atma is free from all these things limited by space and time. So, it is called Sanatanaha, always fresh, ever fresh. That is the reason Hinduism is called Sanatana Dharma. Actually, original name is Sanatana Dharma. And later on, other people who came from outside, invaders and people who migrated, they gave this name Hinduism. So Hinduism is not the word, it is Sanatana Dharma. Okay. It is always there, eternal. It can never be become old, always fresh, always applicable. So far clear?
Yes.
Okay. So Hinduism is called Sanatana Dharma and it teaches us the changeless values of life, changeless truths of this creation. Okay, that is the reason this word is given Sanatana. It will re-establish itself. Some people may say that it will get destroyed, it will go away. It has been in existence for thousands of years. Thousands of years it has been in existence and it will continue forever as long as the creation takes place. It will establish itself. Sometimes it may go down, but again it will come up. That is the nature of the Sanatana Dharma. Okay. Ever fresh, it is ever applicable, it is ever valid. That is the reason we are studying Bhagavad Gita after some 7,000 years after it was taught, preached by Krishna to Arjuna, because it is applicable even today, even this moment. And tomorrow also it will be applicable, and generations to come, thousands of years to come, it will be applicable. People will continue to study Bhagavad Gita because it is Sanatana Dharma, always applicable and ever fresh. All other things change from time to time. Even sciences, they keep on changing. New developments, new findings, new discoveries, inventions. What happens? It keeps on changing. Okay. They are revised. New concepts are introduced. Theories, old theories go away. New theories come. Many medicines, old medicines are discarded. New medicines come. Everything, treatment changes. The approach itself changes. Once upon a time, they used to say that if there is a burn injury, one should not put water. Now, what they are saying? First thing you should put is water. Apply is water. So it is all changing. Okay, but not this Sanatana, not this Atma. That is the meaning of this verse, Loka. Atma is Sanatana. Nityaha, Achalaha, Sthanuhu, and Sanatana. That is what Bhagavan is repeating, emphasizing the nature of Atma to Arjuna. We'll move on to the next verse, 25th. Please unmute. Avyaktoyam achintyoyam
Avyaktoyam achintoyam
avikaryoyam uchyate
avikaryomuchyate
tasmad evam viditvainam
tasmadevam viditvainam
na nusochitum arhasi.
nanum suchitamasi.
I am means this. Avyaktaha. Vyakta means manifest. Avyakta means unmanifest. Achintyaha, not an object of thought. Chintyaha means which can be thought in the mind. Achintyaha means which cannot be thought, which cannot be an object of thought. Avikaryaha, not subject to any change. Uchyate means it is said. Tasmat, therefore, evam, thus, enam, this, viditva, knowing, anusochitam. Sochitam means grieve, to grieve, to be sorrowful. Na arhasi, you should not. So Krishna continues the Atma Jnanam. He continues to emphasize the nature of Atma. This Atma is said to be unmanifest. It is not an object of thought. It is not subject to change. Therefore, knowing this, you should not grieve. You should not become sorrowful. So in this verse, Krishna Bhagavan concludes the explanation of Atma Swarupam, the nature of Atma. That discussion is, which started from verse number 12, continued up to 25. He explained all the Swarupam of Atma and why it cannot be killed or destroyed, which never perishes. So many adjectives were given in order to explain this Atma. Avyaktaha. Avyaktaha means not available for this perception, organs of perception. Indriya Gocharam. Because all the 5 sense organs cannot perceive this. 5 sense organs, we all know, they experience 5 sensory properties. Ears can perceive something which has got sound. There is some disturbance. Please keep yourself muted. So ears can perceive something which has sound. Eyes can perceive something that has form and color. Nose can perceive something that has smell. The tongue can perceive something which has taste. The skin can perceive something which has got touch. This all we know, just a quick revision. And what about Atma? It is asabdam, asparsham, arupam, avyayam, tata, arasam, nityam, agandha, vachayat. Atma is free from what? It is free from sabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandha. These 5 properties belong to matter, the body. Okay, they belong to Panchaputas. They belong to 5 elements of Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Jal, Prithvi. This all we studied in Tattva Bodha. The property of Akasha is what?
Space.
Sound. Okay. Vayu, Shabda. Vayu, touch, Sparsha. Akasha, Shabda, sound. Vayu, Sparsha, touch. Agni.
Fire.
What is this thing? Rupam.
Rupam.
Water, Rasam. And Prithvi, Gandha. Smell. So, first element got only one property, that is Shabda. But Vayu, air has got two qualities. What are they? One is Sparsha, its own quality, and since it is derived from Akasha, it also has Shabda. Okay, that is why wind, you can hear the sound, also feel the wind on your skin. Then Agni has got three properties. What are they? Its own property, Rupa, fire. Along with that, it has also inherited Sabda and Sparsha, sound and touch. And water, Jala, Jal has got what? Four properties. Sabda, Sparsha, Rupa and Rasa. Rasa is its own property and it has inherited from the other three elements. Prithvi has got all the five. Sabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa and Gandha. I hope all of you remember all these things. Tattvabodha, you should never forget. Okay. So 5 elements have got these 5 properties. Matter alone has these properties. And Atma is not a matter. It is non-material. So it can never be perceived. It is Indriya Agocharam. Ears cannot hear it, eyes cannot see it, nose cannot smell it, tongue cannot taste it, and finally, what? Prithvi, Gandha, smell. It cannot be smelled, it cannot be tasted, it cannot be seen, it cannot be touched, and it cannot be heard. Because Atma is not a matter. Indriya Agocharam. Therefore, Avyaktaha. Avyakta, non-manifest. It is not manifest. It is always in unmanifest form only. And therefore, Achintyaha. Chintyaha means which can be perceived, which can be thought of, which can be conceived. But it is Achintyaha. If it cannot be perceived, then it cannot be conceived. Why? All the concepts are based on our perception, perceptual experience, we can say. When we perceive, then only, when we perceive something, then we form the idea, concepts, etc. etc. When it is not available perceptually, when it cannot be perceived, how can we think of that? Okay. We cannot imagine an Atma which is free from sound. Okay. And other properties. So mind cannot think or conceive about this Atma. Then what is this Atma? If I cannot think of Atma, I cannot conceive it, I cannot perceive it, then what is this Atma? So what we think that is Atma, it's not Atma. The Atma is what? It is I. It is you. Okay. It is thinker. It is never thought. The thinker is Atma. So it is never thought. It is ever the thinker. It is never an object of thought. It is always ever the subject. That is why it is called achintya. Object is something that is different from you. You think upon it, you look at it, you hear it, you see it, you touch it. But Atma is not different because you yourself is Atma or Atma. You are Atma. So where is the question of it becoming an object? It is always the subject. Achintya. So it cannot be thought, conceived, perceived. Then avikarya. It is free from these satvikaras. Again, these are all repetition. We have studied in detail in the previous verses. Avyaktaha achintyaha. Here, previously we studied it is aprameya. Okay. Aprameya means which is never an object, is always a subject, which can never be thought of. So aprameya is avyaktaha and achintyaha put together. Okay, aprameya. Here Krishna Bhagavan concludes the discussion of Atma. Arjuna, knowing all these facts, whatever I have explained to you, okay, now you have understood that you are Atma. I am Atma. Bhishma Pitamaha is also Atma. And Dronacharya, the revered teacher, is also Atma. Knowing these facts, you cannot kill as Atma and you cannot be killed. You cannot kill Bhishma Pitamaha or Dronacharya. Okay. So, by doing all these actions of war, fighting, you are not going to acquire any sin or punyam or papam. And therefore, why do you grieve? Why do you cry? That is what Bhagavan asks. There is no scope. There is no scope for crying at all. There is no scope for being sorrow. There is no scope for grieving. Tasmat evam viditva. Having known the Atma very clearly, what should you do? Sochitum na arhasi. You should not grieve over anyone. So nobody deserves grief in life. Okay. So by grieving, you aren't changing any fact. The mortal body is not going to come back by grieving, by being sorrowful, by shedding tears. It is not going to come. The immortal self is not going to perish. It will continue to exist. And therefore, these facts can never be changed. Look at the facts as they are. Okay. And whatever you have to do in this situation, you have to do. And why do you cry? So chitum na arhasi. Do not grieve. Do not cry over. Okay. So these are all started in the 11th verse. Gatasu na gatasuncha nanu sochanti panditaha. Bhagavan said, wise people never grieve. If you understand the fact, you are also wise. He said, you speak like a pandita, but you don't behave like a pandita in the 11th verse, he said. Now he is concluding after explaining the nature of Atma. Now he says, why do you grieve at all? Okay. Grief is ignorance and grief is delusion. So Bhagavan is trying to help Arjuna to get out of his sorrow and delusion. And what is the problem at hand? Immediate solution is to fight the war. That is the very important thing. So Arjuna has to fight. It is his Kshatriya and it is his Swadharma duty. Okay. So Bhagavan is approaching the problem from three angles, as I told you earlier. One is the philosophical approach, and another is moral approach, and third is practical approach. In the philosophical approach, he is explaining the nature of Atma and saying that you cannot kill and you cannot be killed because Atma is eternal. And at dharmic level, from moral level, he is going to explain that it is his duty. You are a Kshatriya. If Kshatriya is not going to fight, who is going to fight? Who will protect the people? Who will protect the kingdom? That is a moral responsibility. And third is this Laukika, practical worldly level approach, where you get, win the war, you get kingdom, you get to rule, you can enjoy the comforts of a kingdom, power, glory, everything, etc. Okay. The first approach is philosophical approach, in which Bhagavan gave Atma Jnanam, self-knowledge, the true nature of every individual, he explained. And the teachings are from verse number 12 and 2 up to verse number 25th. This last verse, he concludes the philosophical approach and he concludes the discussion Swarupam of Atma, Atmanyanam is complete with these words. So, through these teachings, Bhagavan Krishna points out that our real nature is what? Consciousness, Chaitanya Swarupam. And our physical personality, our emotional personality, and intellectual personality, they're all only our incidental nature, not intrinsic nature. It is not our real nature. So we explained what is incidental nature and intrinsic nature. Intrinsic nature is real nature and incidental nature is borrowed nature. Then he continues to explain the nature of that consciousness, Chaitanyam. Then he said, Atma is eternal, Nityaha. Then he said, Atma is Satyaha. That consciousness, Chaitanyam is independent. It does not depend upon anything for its existence. It does not depend upon matter for its existence. Third thing is, Atma is Sarvagataha. Consciousness pervades everywhere. It is not a phenomenon that is confined to a particular space. It is Sarvagata. It is present everywhere. It pervades everywhere. Okay. Then Atma is Aprameyaha. Consciousness can never be experienced as an object because it is ever the experiencer. It is the subject. It is not an object to be experienced. Aprameyaha. Then this consciousness is Akarta and Abhokta. It does not perform any action and therefore does not have any results, punyam or papam. Okay. It is karma aditaha. It is beyond karma phala aditaha. It is beyond these fruits of action. Then finally, Bhagavan said that Atma is nirvikaraha. Consciousness is not subject to any change. It is changeless. Okay. So sometimes we speak of higher nature of consciousness and lower nature of consciousness, etc., etc. Some people say higher state of consciousness and lower state of consciousness. In Shastram, there is no concept of higher or lower state of consciousness. Because if consciousness is subject to states, higher or lower, then what does that mean? It means it is subject to modification. There is only one Atma and there is only one consciousness. There is no question of dividing it into two categories. It cannot be divided. Okay. So when we say higher and lower state, it is not the state of consciousness, it is only our state of mind. At what level we have understood this consciousness. Okay. Like from we start worshipping what? Saguna Brahman or Nirguna Brahman? We start from
Sarguna.
Saguna
Start
Brahman
with
because
Sagun and move towards Nirgun.
yes, from Saguna to Nirguna we move. Because it is not possible to start with Nirguna. It is something which cannot be perceived, which cannot be thought of. How do we do that? It is not possible. So that level, that mental state, that can be classified as a lower state of consciousness and a higher state of consciousness. Naturally, for a jnani, it is the level is higher. Okay. For a sadhaka who is beginner, it is a lower level of lower state of understanding. So it is a state of mind. It is not the consciousness that is lower or higher. Okay. So Bhagavan concludes saying that now you should understand that you are Atma, and not only you are Atma, Bhishma Pitamaha is also that Atma only. The body is a temporary dress. Vasamsi Jinani Yata Vihaya we study. And Dronacharya is also Atma. And therefore, there is no question of anyone killing anyone. There is no question of anyone being killed by anyone. Once you understand this, you will be free from all guilt, fear, grief, sorrow, etc. Therefore, Krishna concludes in this verse, number 25, fifth verse, Tasmadevam viditva. Having known that I am Atma, Nanu Sochitum Arhasi. You should not grieve. You should not run away from your duty. That is the meaning of this verse. Any doubt you may ask? Or yes.
When we talk about giving sanskar to others, like for kids, we are giving sanskar on atma or on what on the body. Like how sanskar work then?
So what is sanskar? The values that you inculcate. Okay.
Okay.
As a value, we teach himsa or ahimsa. We teach
Good
ahimsa.
value.
Yes. We should not hurt anyone. We never say that you go and kill that person because you cannot, Atma cannot be killed and Atma can never kill. No, it is contextual. Here it is applicable to Arjuna and it is also to applicable to us at a different perspective. Okay, so when we teach values, we never teach himsa. Here, if you see, if it is not properly understood, Krishna is advocating what? Himsa only. He is promoting war. That is what people argue. But as we delve deeper into the Bhagavad Gita, we understand that no, it is not promoting hinsa. It is not promoting violence. It is not promoting war. It is only saying that one has to carry one's duty. In order to establish dharma, in order to eliminate adharma, one has to fight. That is what is being. For our children, we should always teach that you should always stand against adharma. You should always follow dharma. Okay, that is the value we should give to our children.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Just continuing on that, right?
Yes.
Now, suppose we see people killing each other. Let's say there's some soldier at the border defending the nation.
Yes.
There could be somebody killing another person for the sake of religion.
Yes.
So, how do we understand which one is okay and which one is not okay? There
It
could
is,
be murders for various reasons.
yes, it is the motive, it is the intention, that niyat, that counts. For a soldier is a kshatriya, isn't it? It is swadharma to protect the border, protect the nation. So in that duty, when he kills, he is honored. He or she, whatever it is, they are honored. They are given full royal this thing, cremation, etc., etc. They are respected. But in the religion, name of religion, someone kills, it is only delusion. You know, I have my concepts, and if that you don't fit into my concept, then I kill you. That is adharma. Everyone cannot have a particular dharma. Imagine dharma. They're saying that my religion is better than yours. Only my religion is acceptable. Only my God is acceptable. Is not dharmic approach. So I believe in something, it is my right. You believe in something, it is your right. So let us coexist. Let us coexist and live in harmony. That is dharma. When somebody kills, then it becomes adharma. The intention is wrong. Intention is to kill everyone and convert to particular religion. It is obviously adharma. Okay. So it all depends. Even in the court of law, justice system, when a murder is committed, what the judge sees, whether it was pre-planned, what was the intention, what was the motive behind that, was it in self-defense, was it by accident, or it was pre-planned, it's a cold-blooded murder. The intention, the motive plays a very critical, crucial role in deciding the punishment. Same thing is applicable here also. And what is dharma and what is adharma, it is not very difficult to determine, because Shastrams tell us what is dharma and what is adharma. And our own common sense also tells what is dharma and what is adharma, and it has been practiced thousands of years. So we know what is right and what is. That is why we call these religious murders as terrorism, and the war at the border as heroism. It is the motive and the intention. One is trying to protect the motherland or fatherland. That is the duty of Swadharma of that soldier. So his killing will not attract papam. Because he is not killing. He is not killing enemy out of his own wish. He is doing it for the sake of the nation, for which he is assigned. So this hangmen are there, hangmen who carry out the death sentence. So do they occur punyam or papam? They pull the lever,
Correct.
They don't incur, because they declare before pulling the lever, before the person is killed, he said, I don't have anything against you. I am only carrying out a duty given to me by the government to execute this killing. So that person will never attract papam. Because his motive is not to kill that person. He is only carrying out his duty. Personally, he has nothing against him. It happened in Nirbhaya case, one gentleman volunteered from UP, I think. He traveled, nobody was ready. And he was ready. He came and did that. He said, I'm only carrying out my duty. So the intention determines the result. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Next verse, please unmute. Verse number 26. 6. Atachchainam nityajatam
अथ
चैनं नित्यजातं
yam va manyase mritam
यं वा
नित्यं
मन्यसे ते
मन्यसे
मृतं
tatapi tvam mahabaho
तथापि
तपापि
त्वं
त्वं
महाबाहो
महाबाहो
naivam sochitum arhasi.
नैवं शोचितुम्
शोचितुमर्हसि
अर्हसि
So Anvaya, Mahabaho. Mahabaho means a mighty armed Arjuna. Atacha, and if evam, sorry, enam, this nitya jatam, constantly born. Nityam, constantly, again constantly. Mritam, dead. Manyase, you think. Tata api, even then. Tvam, you. Evam, thus. Sochitam, sochitam means to grieve. Na arhasi, you should not grieve. Sochitum na arhasi, you should not grieve. Krishna continues after giving the Atma Jnanam, Atma Swarupam knowledge. And he continues to say that if you take this Atma to have constant birth and death, even then, Arjuna, the mighty armed, you should not grieve in this manner. So, after explaining the nature of Atma, Atma Jnanam, self-knowledge from verse number 12 to 25, now Krishna Bhagavan explains why Arjuna should fight. Because ultimately, what is the problem at hand is to fight the war. The immediate problem is to make Arjuna give up this delusion, to give up this sorrow and fight the war. That is important. Krishna has that duty. It is his duty to make him to fight. So he says that even if you think that this Atma is subject to constant birth and death, that Atma is born continuously after death and dies after birth, you should not grieve. So what is the point Krishna Bhagavan is making here? That if Atma is being born all the time, why afraid of death then? Because if we die again, you are going to be born. No, because Bhishma, Pitamaha, Dronacharya, everyone will take birth again once they are killed, isn't it? That logic if we apply, constant birth and constant death. And if if Atma is always dying, no, then which death we are crying for? Which death you are crying for? Because it has to die one day. There is no new death, no, for which you grieve, you become sad. What is dying will keep on dying. Therefore, where is the question of sorrow with regard to this birth and death? So, this anityam, which is not permanent, nityam is permanent, anityam is impermanent, cannot be stopped by you. How can anybody stop anything that is bound by time? So, if for some reason Arjuna has understood whatever has been taught, okay, however, whatever has been taught, if Arjuna has understood, that has been explained from 12 to 25th verse by Krishna Bhagavan. So there will be no death for anyone, including himself. But if Arjuna continues to think that Atma is Anatma, the body, Deha, he cannot do anything about its death. Okay. Arjuna has to say that people are either always born or always dying. If they are always born, why should he grieve? If they are always dying, then also why should he grieve? Since there is no new dying or new birth, what is there to cry about, Arjuna? That is the logic Bhagavan applies here. So even if Atmajnanam is not imbibed properly, understood properly, and Arjuna thinks that death is constant, birth is also constant. Birth and death keep on happening. Then why should he grieve? If someone dies, they will take birth again. If someone is born and one has to die eventually, because it's all bound by time. So that is the logic given here in this verse. Any doubt? Fairly
No,
simple
clear.
explanation, in this verse, nothing very complicated. Okay. With this, we will conclude 27th verse. We will continue in the next class. If there are a couple of minutes, anyone wants to ask question, you can ask. You want to share something, you can share. You want to tell something, you are most welcome. Your perspectives.
Can I ask a question, Nandagopalji?
Yes, please.
Yeah, we understand that, that body is anatma. We should not grieve for the person, etc. All that we understand, we agree. But when it actually happens and we are overwhelmed with grief, for example, I lost a dear brother, and I've been attending these classes. I understand all this. But when it actually happens, how do you overcome that grief?
How do you overcome? It is only the acceptance. The faith
How
in the
does that
spirit.
acceptance come? What I'm saying is, I know I have to accept this is reality. This is what it is. This is, is not gone. But still, I can't stop myself from feeling that grief.
Yes, it is quite natural. As you mature, spiritually grow, then this acceptance will come. One's own death, one will be able to accept. There are many cases where terminal illness are there. Patients are told that you have only 3 months to live, 6 months to live. Okay. And there are people who accept that and lead a steady life till they perish.
I think it's easier to accept your own, but if it is a loved one, it's hard,
See,
more difficult.
I asked you a question long back in the beginning of the course we started. Does death cause sorrow? Does death cause pain?
Now with the classes, we know that it should not.
Because if
How
death can
do
cause
we reach
pain,
that point when it will not cause pain?
it will.
Is it only through constant?
It is because of your attachment. See, so many people are dying every day. We see in West Asia what is happening. Thousands are killed ruthlessly in a very
So how
horrible
do we
manner.
gradually get rid of that attachment?
Yes, that is the thing. That is why we are studying Shastram. So it should always be on the back of your mind that these are all temporary. These are all temporary. One day it is subject to end. One day this will go away. My dear brother will go away. My dear sister will go away. My dear parents will go away. One day I will also go away. Anything can happen because everything is impermanent. That impermanent thing may happen today also, next moment also, we do not know. Mentally, you should be prepared. Mentally, you should be prepared. I agree that easier said than done. I fully agree. But it is perfectly possible to accept the reality. That kind of maturity one should, it will develop as you study Shastram, as we progress in Bhagavad Gita. Slowly these things will get assimilated and you will be able to accept the fact and say that yes, by all means we should have attachment, we should enjoy the presence of our near and dear ones. Whatever love they shower, that also we should enjoy. But we should be ready to accept the fact that one day this will go away. One day it will stop. Either I will go away or they will go away. That kind of shock absorber you will have to develop. So then actual thing happens, yes, for some time it will be there, but one should not grieve for, years together, months together, go into depression and all these things. That should not happen. That one has to accept and it will happen. It requires a spiritual growth and spiritual maturity. And you see jnanis, you see acharyas, they're all mentally prepared. You inform them that you have only another 6 months to live. No, it will not cause any earth-shattering experience. It will not cause tsunami or earthquake. They will. There may be some disturbance for some time, but it will be minor tremors, like, not a major earthquake. It will be accepted. Okay, it
Thank
is
you.
perfectly possible.
May I ask one question?
Yes, please.
In the situation when we are considering accepting everything that one has to come and one will go, then why we crave or why we pray for the baby, that we want kids?
Yeah, that because we want to be immortal. That is what we explained in the beginning of today's class. We want to live on through our children.
Acha.
Because immortality is our nature, we have this desire. My children will carry my name. My children will carry my property. My children will through my children I will live. That is a deep desire everyone has. Even though people may say that I want to have son, I want to leave my property, the real reason is this only, that everyone wants to live through their children. The
So
generation
it
has
is correct or wrong to have this desire?
nothing wrong, because it is our nature. That is what we explained. It is our nature. Immortality is our nature of Atma. And since we don't understand and assimilated the fact that I as Atma, I am immortal, we want to have this, we want to live through our children. There is nothing wrong in it. But that is how world continues, isn't it? Creation continues. If everyone stops having children, then what will happen? So that desire will always be
So
there. And it is
so
nothing
this
wrong.
desire is not wrong.
Nothing wrong.
Okay.
Absolutely nothing wrong. Unless and until
Thank
that desire becomes an obsession, any desire is acceptable as long as they are under control. Even eating sweets, any vairagyam we studied, there are two types of desires. Vairagyam, in that we studied in Tattvabodha and all that. So that the desire should not become an obsession. I cannot live without that. Then it becomes a problem. I cannot live if I don't have my children. That one should try, if possible, if God willing, people get children. The other day I met one person who is selling coconut, tender coconut. He says, "Sir, I am having 4 daughters." I said, 4 daughters? 4 daughters with your earning, how are you managing? I said, "Sir, my mother was telling that you get a son, get a son, get a son." And after 4 children, we got this idea, enough is enough. It is beyond our means. The person had desire, the mother had desire that I should get a grandson. So eventually they produced 4 children, all female children, all girls. So that desire is there, but it should not become an obsession that he continues to have 10 children, so that hoping that my 10th children will be 10th child will be a son. So that then it becomes an obsession, it becomes a problem. Desire should be there, but it should not become an obsession. Then there is a problem. Somebody has written in box a story that comes to mind. A monk asked the disciple to go to each house in the village and get grain from a house where there was no death. Disciple came back empty-handed. There was no single home or family where no death has happened. So this is one story where it explains that death is there everywhere. One has to accept that. Good story. Okay. With this, we will conclude. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramanah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma
Ma
Kashit
kaschit
Bhaveत् Asato Ma Satgamaya
Satgamaya
Tamaso
Tamaso
Ma
Ma
Jyotirgamaya
Jyotirgamaya
Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari
Hari
Om.
Om
Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Harihi Om. Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a
Thank you,
nice day.
Acharya ji.
Thank you, Acharya ji.